Thank you, Honourable Speaker. On March 26th, I introduced Bill 225, Universal Screening for Learning Disabilities. On April 11th, 2 weeks later, the government issued a news release celebrating their commitment to universal screening for learning disabilities. And on April 15th, I was thrilled to see Bill 225 pass second reading with unanimous support. Honourable Speaker, the next step is committee. Many Manitobans have already signed up to present at committee. Will the Minister share with the House here this afternoon when Bill 225 will go to committee?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I thank the member opposite for that very important question. I will make a small correction for the record, and that is that our government did more than just express a commitment to the early universal screeners tools that we have introduced. In fact, we've issued a policy directive, and it is something that we're really excited to be rolling out in the fall in schools across Manitoba. The introduction of these universal early screening tools are going to ensure that all Manitobans, including our earliest learners, receive the supports that they need at the earliest possible intervention. We're very, very proud of that announcement. I look forward to working with the member opposite.
Time has expired. The honourable member for Tyndall Park on a supplementary question.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Identifying learning disabilities through universal screening is just the first step. We also need teachers, reading specialists, and speech-language pathologists who are trained and resourced to support students. It was shared in a letter from a Dyslexia Canada outreach coordinator that the heartbreaking reality is that even highly engaged families cannot replace the role of an adequately supported school system. Does this government agree that providing a universal screening program for students will help educators and specialists respond with a more consistent and evidence-based strategy that children require?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and again, thank you to the member opposite for this important question, for allowing the opportunity for this important discussion in this chamber. And again, I think it's important to note something that's different from Bill 225 that separates from what the announcement that our government was very proud to make earlier last month, and that's that our universal screening tools are not just there to help identify students with disabilities. And again, I very much applaud the member opposite for her work with Dyslexia Canada and the folks that work at Dyslexia Canada for the excellent advocacy that they do. But our universal screening tools here in Manitoba are designed for all children and to identify all the barriers that they might be facing when they're struggling with literacy, not just learning disabilities. So we also agree that it's very important.
Time has expired. The honourable member for Tyndall Park on a final supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, there's no accountability in the government's announcement. Literacy outcomes in Manitoba are not simply about an individual effort. They are shaped by poverty, language barriers, race, and disability. Many parents want to help, but cannot take on the role of a trained reading instructor. Literacy is not just an at-home responsibility, it is a public right. How is the government ensuring that its approach to literacy, whether through policy, legislation, or curriculum, acknowledges and addresses the systemic barriers students and families are facing, especially those from marginalized communities?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and again, thank the member opposite for the question. And I think that it's true that the member and I probably agree on more than we disagree on this important topic. And I would argue that probably most members of this chamber really want the best for children, and we want the best to improve the literacy outcomes here in Manitoba. That's why our government was so proud for a second year in a row to finally restore proper, healthy funding to schools. $170 million, Honourable Speaker, over 2 years in this province. We've also annualized the $30 million Universal Nutrition Program, which hopefully will be protected into law later this afternoon to ensure that all children across Manitoba, specifically the children in the most need, receive the supports that they need.